All right, welcome. I'm excited to get to talk to you guys today a little bit about residency and studying for the American Board of Family Medicine exam. This is usually written in April. It's now November, so I'm a little late to post this, but I'm hopeful that my tips and tricks might be able to help you. I went on to pass my exam and do pretty well on it. And so hopefully this can be helpful to anyone that's preparing for this exam. So first of all, how early do you start studying for this exam? It's really going to be up to you. It's for me, what really affected that was how my rotations were right before the exam time. So I was an off-cycle resident, and that means I took the exam actually in November, not in the April time. But most people will take it in April, and I had really heavy rotations right before, which meant I just had longer hours than the other rotations, and so it was really tough to get a lot of studying in closer towards the test. So I actually started about 3 months early. I think a lot of my colleagues studied about 8 weeks before. A few studied shorter amount than that. It really was up to them and your comfort level. Especially, how did you do on tests before? Like, how did you do on the USMLEs? Do you need a little extra time studying? Things like that will be a good thing to keep in mind. So the content in which I studied, I think the most helpful thing I can tell you to do is use the old in training or exams, or the ITE exams, the ones that you take every year. The ABFM will publish those with the responses or the critiques, which is basically explaining the answers to you. Those are really helpful. I think I studied all from 2019 to 2000, and the most recent one at the time, which was, I believe that was 24. And I went through those questions. Now there are a lot of questions, around 200 questions each. There's a little bit of variance with that in some of the years, but there's quite a lot of questions to get through. And so that can help you decide how early you're going to start studying. And what I would do is I would answer the question to the best of my ability. Then I would pull up the critique and see if I got it right. And did I know why? Because if this concept was tested differently, would I still be able to get the answer correctly? And so if I didn't know how to do that, I would go ahead and read about it. So that usually there's an article at the bottom of the critique for that question. And or if I really liked a AAFP article, I would read it there. And that was really helpful for me. I would flag the questions that I would get wrong, concepts that I just didn't really feel like I got a good grasp on. I would write those down. And as the test got closer, I would focus on those things, those questions, and go from there. All right, so apart from the ITE questions, which are golden, this is where you're gonna get a lot of bang for your buck. I think one of the most helpful things you could do as well, when I didn't have a whole lot of time, so when I was an inpatient or just busier rotations, I would do the free online quizzes from AAFP. They're 10-question quizzes. The content is pretty good. They don't really reflect what you'll see, but it's a really great quick thing you can do. And I think that the explanations are really helpful. Once again, I would write down the things I struggled with and go back to that. Other than that, some of the things you cannot afford to not look at would be the U.S. Preventative Task Force, or Preventive Services Task Force, where it really talks about your screening guidelines and making sure that you are up to date on those, because that will be a good portion of the test as well, just like the Family Medicine Shelf. Other things that I looked up were the Choosing Wisely campaign. I really liked those reasonings. That was really helpful to go through. If you have a little extra time on your hands, I had a bunch of AFP articles, or journals laying around, and I went through the key recommendations, and I actually ended up seeing a lot of those. I wasn't able to read everything, but I did see a lot of the key recommendations really helped me to answer a few questions. Apart from that, I think test-taking strategies are important. So if you don't necessarily know the concept, if you could explain to yourself why it's not the other answers, get yourself down to a 50-50 guess, that's better than nothing. Making sure that you're able to pace yourself so you can practice the full-length exam with ITE questions that you have, and see how long it takes you and go from there. And then apart from that, um, you want to make sure you're prepared for the test. So you have your printed ticket, and then you also have your food that you're going to take for the test and go from there. Usually within 2 weeks, you'll get like a score, not a report yet, but like a preliminary pass or not. 2 to 8 weeks, I think they said online when I looked, and then you'll get a response after that. And hopefully you'll be board certified after that. You'll notice that not all physicians are board certified. Luckily, this will hopefully get you there. All right, so I hope that was helpful. Please subscribe if you want me to keep making videos. Hit a like if you enjoyed this. Comment if you have any questions, concerns, things that you'd like me to talk about, and go from there. I'm going to finish on a quote for the day. I really like this one. Numbers don't allow for empathy. So at the end of the day, the number you get on your test doesn't really match who you are. You're so much more than a number, but unfortunately it's something we have to get through to go get to the next point in our careers. But you're way more than that. Good luck studying, and we'll see you next time.